Hey guys, today I'm going to make a 4x4x4 dome pin, and I thought I'd do it on camera today and just make a video out of it and show you how I make my dome pins. Now, the way I make my dome pins, I ain't saying it's the right way or the way you should do it. I'm just going to show you how I do it and what works best for me. Now, the dome pin is a very good pen. It's a multi-purpose pen. I use them for cocks and stags, and I've used them for other reasons, such as holding pens, conditioning pens, single mating pens, and I mean you can use them for just about anything. They're fairly cheap to make, and they're easy to make, and they're light as well, and you can move them around fairly easy by yourself. So let me get my frame cut, and we'll get started. So hang with me, and I'll get back with you on the next step. All right, guys. Here's where I'm at on my cage now. I've got my frame put together, and I started putting my wire on also. Now, my frame is made out of treated 2x4s, and they're screwed together with 3.5-inch galvanized screws. You can use nails. A lot of people nail their frames together, but I prefer to just screw them together with screws. I think they hold together a bit longer and a bit better. Now, for the frame, it's pressure treated 2x4s. Now you can use regular 2x4s, and they're a bit cheaper compared to the pressure treated 2x4s, but your pressure treated 2x4s will last you a lot longer, so I prefer pressure treated. Now, I also want to note that if you live in a windy area where you get a lot of strong winds, you may want to use a 2x6 frame, or 2x6 is for your frame, so that way you got a little extra weight to help hold your cages down. But where I live, my cages, my game fowl is down in a holler way, but that's surrounded by mountains, and I don't really have no trouble out of wind here. Usually when we got strong winds, you can hear it ripping and whistling up on the hilltops and the higher elevations, but down in the holler way here, you barely get any wind. So I'm in pretty good shape as far as wind goes. But also I got my brace in the center of my cage, 2 foot in the center. Now, the reason I got that brace is because I'm working with 14 gauge wire today, and this 14 gauge wire is a bit flimsy, and I prefer 12.5 gauge wire, but it's a little bit harder to find, and it's a bit more expensive. But when building these, if you can afford it and you can find it, use the 12.5 gauge wire, and you won't have to worry about a brace, and it will last you a lot longer than this 14 gauge wire, and it's a lot more sturdy also. But anyways, today I'm just making out with what I got, and it's the 14 gauge wire. Now that brace you see there is a 10-foot piece of 1/2-inch PVC conduit. You can get it at a hardware store. I got this at Lowe's for about $1.50. I mean, it's really cheap, and it's really flexible. I mean, you just bend it and center it in, and I got it center of my frame, 2-foot center, and I screw it into the side of my frame. I put two 1.5-inch galvanized screws on each side, and I screw it into the frame. And then I cut a 10-foot strip of wire that's 4 foot wide, 10 foot long, and I lay it over the top, and then I zip tie my wire to my brace, and that helps sturdy it up after you get your front and back pieces on. It gets a lot more sturdy that way. Now, I also want to mention that when you cut in your frame, this the front board you see there behind that pullet is cut 48 inches, and the back one you see back there is cut 48 also. Now the two pieces that runs in between that is cut 45 inches. They're 45 inches each, and the front and back piece is 48 inches. Now, when you nail or screw that together, it's going to make you a perfect 4x4 frame. Alright guys, I'm back with you. I just about got this cage done. I've got my frame put together, my wire looped over the top, and I've got my front and back pieces on. I just got to finish tying one side in, and then I'll be just about completely done with it. Now, I want to mention that when I put my wire on, I try to leave it up from the bottom a little bit. When I'm tacking my wire on, you can see there that it's up from the bottom, about an inch from the bottom. I do that so that it stays up out of the dirt and the mud build up and stuff, because over time, as your cage sets outside, it's going to get rain, and mud is going to beat up on the sides of it, during rainy seasons and snowy seasons and stuff. So it kind of keeps your wire up off of the ground, and it keeps the wire from starting to rust on you so quick. Now, also, I got my roost pole mounted. That roost you see there is just a small beech tree, and if you want something more permanent, you can get a PVC pipe and use it. But with all the mountains I have around me, and me building my cages on a budget, or trying to stay on a budget as much as possible so I can take care of my game fowl, I just cut small trees and use them. And how I have it mounted in there is I just zip tie it in, and I cut it about the width of the cage, and then I zip tie it in, and it's mounted there good and snug, and it'll last a long time, and it don't cost nothing. So, and again, I've just about got this complete. I'll pull this camera mount up here and show you in a minute how the wire looks looped over the top. And I also want to mention that when I staple, or when I tap my wire on, I'm using these little U-shaped nails. Alright guys, I'm going to show you this brace and how I got my roost pole. There you see, I just take a zip tie, loop it around the brace and leave it loose. Then I take a zip tie and run it through that zip tie, and then tie it out here, and then pull it tight right there, and then snip it, and that roost pole is locked in there good and snug. I mean, you can see I'm pulling on it, and it ain't moving. And also, I was going to show you this brace. There you see how it's bent, and the wires zip tied to it. And also, when I put this wire on the front, I don't use no kind of cage clips for this 14 gauge. I actually leave some on the edges, and then I just wrap it around and tie it in like that. Now you can see how I do this. And this is cutting cost also by doing this. You know, I don't have to buy no cage clips. Alright guys, I got my cage built and I got it covered up now. We had a little rain already, and you can see there on the bottom that the rain has kind of beat a little dirt up on the side of it. But I got it finished. I got it where I want it. Done got a rooster in it, and I got it completely covered from across the top and side to side. What I'm using there is 4-foot wide roof underlayment. This is some new material. I ain't never used it. This is the first year I've used it. It's kind of costly, but it comes on a row with 250 foot, so you can do 25 cages. If you build them the way I built this cage here today, you can cover it 25 cages. Now, this stuff here is it's made like that material that you see, that tarp material that you see on the side of houses when houses is being built. I'm not sure how good this will do this year, but I went ahead and bought this stuff because last year we had tons of rain, and there was one point there for about 2 weeks straight it didn't do nothing but rain, and it just flat worked me to death trying to keep them out of the mud, and I was constantly moving them around, and one thing I can't stand is seeing my chickens in the mud. I mean, sometimes it rains so much that it comes out once and you can't help it, but this year I'm hoping that this 4-foot wide stuff, since it completely covers the cage across the top and up the sides, will help cut down on the cages getting so dirty. But usually what I use is roofing felt. Some people call it tar paper, roofing paper. They call it different things, but you can buy it at Lowe's, and it's really cheap, and there's a lot of people uses that stuff, and for the price you can get a lot of use out of it. And since I already had some, I went ahead and put felt underneath this tarp material also, so that way if this doesn't work out and it starts ripping or tearing, then I'll just jerk it off and I already have my felt put in place. And I want to mention that when I put that on, I take some button caps on the bottom of it and tack it on, and then I take staple gun with some small staples and also staple it across the bottom for a little extra protection. And sorry about that. And I also I run a small gauge steel wire up the side of it to the other side for a little extra protection, for in case we do get some strong wind or something other. Hopefully it won't rip it off. And I also want to mention that when I put my roost in here, in this cage, I put it about 1.5 feet off the ground, so that way it gives them plenty of room to jump up and flap their wings without beating their wings up on the side of the cages. And one other thing I want to mention, now the biggest flaw to building these, to using these dome pens, is they don't have a door on them. Now to me that ain't really a problem. When I want to get a rooster out, I'll just tease them out with another rooster, and if you got a hen or something other in there which you can't tease out, I'll just get a dip net, a small dip net that you dip fish with, and I'll just raise it up a little bit and reach under there and get them out. But if you got good, mentally stable, aggressive fowl, then you won't have much of a problem teasing them in and out of the cages. Now, if they ain't never been teased in or out like that, especially young chickens, now sometimes they're a little bit stubborn. That covers it here today for this video, and I just want to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing to my channel, thanks for commenting when you do, and again, I hope this video is insightful, and I hope it helps some of you out there, and I think that's about it for now. So I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.